What's up, everyone? Hope your Sword of Convallaria gameplay is nothing but fun and exciting and full of luck. I've come up with another Auguste team comp that I thought would be fun to explore and talk about. It is not union based. It is simply structured around the synergy and the way that you might want to play Auguste, and that him being hyper aggressive, trying to get off attacks every time he can, and staying mobile in his assault. I call the team Total Assault because I feel like it does everything it can to really get at the enemy and keep the pressure on. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. Of course, in that team we're going to use Auguste first and foremost because he's the focal point of the team. However, the second person on the team that's of the top priority is going to be Gloria. We talked about her in the Union. I'm not going to put too much time and energy into it. I just want to go over her kit really fast and break her down and what she does for the team. So of course you got that trait, that Flag of Justice, increase Gloria's attack by 15%. When she loses flag waving aura, she gains potential burst for 2 turns, and her movement is increased by 2 tiles. And of course that is attack up by 20% and defense up by 40%, and then she can't be debuffed in that way. At the start of the battle, Gloria will auto use Longinus flag waving, which grants flag waving aura. And that flag waving aura, pretty great. Longinus flag waving skill instant grants move 1 to all allies within 3 tiles around her, grants character flag waving. And then of course her aura from flag waving increases attack and defense of all allies within 3 tiles by 12% and cannot be immunized or dispelled. Past that, I've got her Lance of Justice and her auto attack. Her reaction is a counter attack. I've got that Vow of Justice for that awesome aura, so that way we can get Auguste good and strong. We got Lance of Longinus, so that way she can throw that out there and it become a beacon. Of course, as it says right here, it talks about it increases attack and defense by 50% for all allies in battle, and disappears after a certain number of turns. So that's fantastic. That's when it's out there on the field. And then obviously it's an extra target. That's one thing that it doesn't say in here. When you're utilizing her, I often will throw that lance down because I want the enemies to kind of be pilled, or maybe they have an extra target to hit. It kind of gives us some freedom to not take hits at certain times when we might need it. And of course, it's good AOE damage, you know, as it goes out at 80% AOE damage to all enemies over 2 tiles. So yeah, and of course it has to be used in an empty tile. And then at the far end we got Longinus Brilliance, which is support grants. Gloria grants all allies within 3 tiles of herself attack 1 and damage reduction 2 for 2 turns, and restores 1 energy. If there is no flag waving or on Gloria, the skill switches to full moon strike. I'm going to call strike. There's no strike in there. Full moon. And so that skill does 90% AoE damage to all enemies within 2 tiles around the character. Damage dealt is increased by 30% when the targets are injured. Gain damage reduction 2 for 2 turns after performing the skill. Super great. Gloria is really, really strong. She goes really, really well with Auguste, in my opinion, and so they got to stay together. Keep them there. Now for a weapon, I got double-sided halberd on her. It increases her physical attack by 5% for each target hit when attacking, and increases damage by 6% up to 18%. On her trinket, we got Crystal Burst Armor, which increases her HP by 2%. Mind you, it's at 1 star. And then Strike Back deals 10% more damage. And then for our Resonance, we've got damage increased by 5% and 15% lifesteal with a Sword and Chalice mix. And on the Terror Whisper, we got Dream of the Magician, which increases damage by 8%. When casting a skill, each additional enemy hit increases damage by 4% up to 12% total. And then over here we got the bonus feature of it, which increases damage by 16% when casting a skill. For each additional enemy hit, the damage is increased from 8 up to 24 instead of that base 4 to 12. Really, really good. Gloria's phenomenal. Really strong. She does some pretty good, decent damage. Auguste, sometimes, you know, you put everything all on him. He needs someone else to come in and help wave clear and do all that, which I'll show in a battle later. And Gloria does it perfectly. Past Gloria, our number 2 spot is going to go to Edda. Now, I know not everybody has Edda. If you do, awesome. If you don't, I'm sorry. But if you have her, check this out. This is why you might want to use her with Auguste. I'm going to go over her trait first and foremost. Catching Fire. Increases Edda's attack by 6%. She performs assisting attack against all enemies within 4 tiles of herself. dealing 30% physical damage. The skill can be used one time per round. And so assisting attacks buff, it prepares to launch an attack at an enemy within a certain range when a target is under the ally's active single attack. Attacks it simultaneously. So anytime your allies hit someone with a single target attack, she pops them too. And so that's really, really good. She's going to get that extra damage off. Auguste hits them, Gloria hits them, you name it, and provided it's not an AoE, you're getting extra damage in there. Here's where it's going to really start getting wild. Basic attack, we got Dispelling Strike. 100% physical damage and dispels 2 buffs. Fantastic. So she's gonna give us that dispel in our kit and allow us to kind of take some of those buffs off of our enemies if it's ever an issue with this basic attack. Really good. As a reaction, we got Shelter Advantage, decreases damage taken by 40% if there's one item within her tile around the character, and that flag counts. From what I have seen, that flag is part of it. And then of course she can drop crates, which I have right here. Fortification. It's an instant skill. It summons a box in a target tile. Perfect. She stands on it, it gets high ground, does extra damage, and then of course it props off and it reactivates that Shelter Advantage. On top of that, we have Take Arms. Now this is a really good one right here. Other allies within 4 tiles of Edda restore 1 energy upon use. When she performs an assisting attack, her damage increases by 130%. It increases the maximum number of times the effect can be triggered by per turn by 2. The effect lasts 1 turn. That's awesome. So now her assisting attack's not just going to go off once per turn. The way I read it, it's going to be triggered 3 times in total, potentially, if you have those single attacks being procced multiple times. Really, really good. It gives 1 energy. That alone makes it worth it. But of course, that bad effect is really good. Now, the last thing I have on her is Guardian Gleam. So support grants all allies within 3 tiles of Edda damage up 3, magic defense 2, and move 1 for 3 turns. She dispels disruption from targets. So that damage is 30% buff. That magic defense is a 40% buff, which is good on Auguste because he's a physical tank. He gets a physical overshield. Magic damage is kind of where he's a little bit susceptible from what I have seen, and she helps supplement that and take care of that. And then of course we want more mobility. We want Auguste pressing the attack. We want him on him. We want Gloria even get in on that. And so she's going to help make sure that happens. And then of course disruption is a debuff. It stops all active skills, passive skills, so on and so forth. She dispels that. So it's really, really good. It's awesome. If ever Auguste is having a hard time, he's been slowed down, he can't use his active, his reactive, his you name it passive, he can't move, she's going to get rid of that. And she's going to send him rolling with a damage increase. So past that, for the weapon, I've got her with Meteor Line. I love this weapon. And it's going to go insane with everything else she's got going on. It increases her physical attack by 5%, and after dealing damage with a single target attack, it inflicts 2 random debuffs. Can't go wrong with that. That's every attack, and that includes that assisted attack, which is at 3 per turn. So she's proccing that. She's hitting the enemies, she's debuffing them the whole time. And then if you hit them with their single attack, dispel something, you're adding a debuff too. It's really, really good. It gets really, really nutty. It's a lot of utility there with this bow on her, in my opinion. Now I've got Disaster Bottle on her. I like that because I want to keep those debuffs hot and heavy. I want those enemies to not have a lot of strength, and so that's what I put on her. You can put all kinds of things on there, but that's what I'm rolling. And then for the Terror Whisperer, we got Destruction of the Tower. And so when it's not the character's turn, damage dealt is increased by 20%, just so we can hit that extra damage. Hopefully, finish off any enemies, any stragglers that she's popping those attacks and hitting on. So in my opinion, that's your second pick past Gloria in this team. Edda is really, really strong, great support, and she's going to help Auguste out, at least until Homa's out. But anyways, moving on to number 3 on the team. This guy might surprise y'all, because you don't normally see him anywhere. Guzman. When I read his kit, and I read what he can do, I got him, of course, in a random pool. Was not excited to get him, but now that I've read what he can do, I'm really excited to use him, and I have been. And with Auguste, I'm not disappointed. He's a lot of fun. So, let's get right into it. His trait is Undead Corpse. Guzman becomes immune to no resolve, which of course is a debuff, nullifies resolve, unlimited resolve, as well as certain effects prevent from being defeated or allowed to return to combat upon defeat. He possesses toughness. Oops, I clicked it. And when injured, his attack is increased by 5%, and when dying, his attack is additionally increased by 10%. So 15 in total at dying. Toughness, gain immunity to injured and dying. Perfect. When he's injured, he activates HP when it's below 70%. He reduces damage taken by 20%. And damage dealt, by 20%, increases damage by 20%. He's immune to that. And he's immune to this dying state as well because of that toughness, which obviously is these traits right there. It's below 30%. Really, really good. And so this resolve right here is the key, because when he's defeated, Guzman transforms into a corpse with 100% decreased defense. That's a bummer, but that corpse means that he's not dead. Click that a couple times. So corpse is a state. It activates after being defeated. The character returns to combat after a certain amount of time if the character is not defeated again. So basically, he becomes a husk. He's sitting there, he's got his own life bar. He's lost 100% of his defense, sure, but if he doesn't die within that time and you keep him alive, he returns back to combat and he's at it again. Phenomenal. It's only one time per battle. It's cool. I don't know if that increases over. Actually, I haven't looked at that, so I'm kind of stinking. Nope. But it's still really cool. Really, really good. This is a character that's generally considered weak, not great, so I'm really excited to use him. With that said, let's get into it. His basic attack, armor piercing, is what I put on it. A little bit of a debuff in his damage. If we're using that basic attack, which we will, and often, we're just trying to proc that Edda. We want those extra hits to go out, because we want to kill things and kill them fast. For a reaction, we got Survival Instinct. It gains 8% damage reduction before it being attacked, 15% additional damage reduction when injured, and 50% additional damage reduction when dying. Really, really cool. Obviously, that means you probably want some HP in this kit. That way we can proc those things a little more easily. Now, this is where we get into the synergy with Auguste, in my opinion. Protective Counterattack. It's a supportive ability. Takes 30% less magic damage. Takes magic attacks for all allies within the character's 2 tiles. When attacked by an enemy within 3 tiles of the character, strikes back and deals 70% physical damage, and it activates 2 times per round. This effect lasts 3 turns. Like I said, in my opinion, Auguste is susceptible to magic attacks. He's going to peel for that. He's going to help take care of that. And so he's going to swap with Auguste and take those hits. Whereas I want Auguste to take physical hits because he's at the physical overshield. I don't want him taking magical hits because they ignore that overshield. He's helping with that. He switches out and only on those magical attacks. It's exactly what I want. Normally I can't pair a tank with Auguste for that reason. Not really, really well in my opinion, but he is the fit for Auguste as far as that. Next we got Coercion. So at the end of the turn, it inflicts damage 1 and vulnerable 1 on all enemies within the character's 2 tiles, lasting for 2 turns. That's phenomenal. They take extra damage, and they deal less damage. That taking extra damage is exactly what we want. Just for being near them, he's going to debuff them, and so that Auguste can hit and hit harder and do that extra damage. Really, really good. And then, of course, the final ability, which is probably one of my favorites, and what I really like about him, because he keeps the attack real. Soul Catcher. Physical damage. Guzman selects one enemy within a cross-shaped range around himself and drags them to his side, dealing 100% AoE damage and inflicts Move Down 2 for 2 turns. So he grabs that enemy, pulls him to him, and inflicts Move Down. And then, of course, when his turn's over, he inflicts Vulnerable. Get over here, stay put, let Auguste smack you. Perfect. It's exactly what we want for our heavy damage dealer, to really be able to keep the pressure on and kill these people fast. Really, really like him. I'll show you in a battle what it all does. He really surprises me. Moving on, let's talk about this weapon. Hollow Axe is what I put on him. It increases his defense by 10%. Gain bonus physical attack up to 10% of your physical and magical defense at the start of the battle. It's not the best thing in the world. It gives him a little extra defense. I'm happy with it. You can put other things on him. That's what I put on him because I want him to be able to also be resilient enough to survive the physical damage as well as the magical. Now for his trinket, we got Coexist Armor. Damage taken is decreased by 10% when healthy. Of course, that's at 5 stars. Really, really like it. Damage mitigation, that's what we're all about. We want him to be able to live through all those hits and take all those hits. And of course, as you can see, we got double pinnacle. That way, when he's injured, he increases damage he does, but decreases damage taken. And at dying, same thing. Increases damage by 10%, decreases by an additional 10%, so a total of 15. That really synergizes well with his other ability, which is right here, Survival Instinct. Really, really good. I like that a lot. And then, of course, I was lucky enough to roll some magic defense in his stats because that's what I was gunning for. And then for the Terror Whisper, we went with the Silence of the Hermit just for that damage mitigation. That's what it's all about. Unfortunately, I was lucky enough to get the 20% total, so he's mitigating a lot of damage. But it's all about keeping the pressure on him, debuffing the enemy just for being near him, pulling them to you, and being resilient enough, and being a magical tank to support Auguste. I won't go on and on about it, but man, this guy really surprised me. It's a really underrated character, not very well liked, but he goes well with Auguste, in my opinion. Moving on to number 4 in the team. I'm going to have to say it's got to be a healer. And for me, Inanna is my girl. She's my favorite healer. If you have Samantha, you have Angel, they all work, but Inanna's who I got. I'm going to go over her kit real quick and we'll talk about it. So her trait is Convallaria. At the start of the battle, Inanna summons 1 guard of the princess. At the end of the turn, she heals 2 allies with the lowest HP percentage within 3 tiles of herself for 20% of her magical attack and grants them 1 random buff. Really, really good. Can't beat that. Now for her basic attack, she's got Merciful Strike. That makes her next healing attack, her healing ability, 15% more potent. Really good. For a reaction, we got Protection of Light. When hit by an active single target attack, damage taken is decreased by 30%, and this effect can be activated 1 time per round. Just to give her some resilience, some good life. Now this is one reason we really like her, and we really want her rolling with Auguste. Act Again. So Princess's Prayer is what it's called. Support allows 1 ally that has already acted to act again, and grants this ally attack up 2 and magic defense 2 for 2 turns. If the target is the guard's princess, additionally heals for 60%. We're not fussed with that. You want to use it on the guard anyways. Maybe you do. Nothing wrong with that. But I don't. However, get a buff on them. Really good buff. That magic defense we're talking about. It's kind of a concern with Auguste. But past that, the act again is the biggest deal. Because then you get to attack again. You get to go ham again. Really, really good. Love her for it. Everybody does. Yeah. Past that, we got Healing Spell, 100% heal, magic attack, and then we got Princess's Comfort. And that is an AoE heal, 2 tiles out, 60% of her magical attack, and dispels 2 debuffs. That's why I really, really like that one. I think everyone does as well. Now, for her weapon, I got Cornucopia Staff, because I am a dolphin. I do spend a little bit, and I grabbed that Cornucopia Pass, and it's a really, really good ability. On it at the start of the turn, if the character's healthy, there's a 50% chance to recover 2 energy. If they're dying, there's a 50% chance to recover 30% HP. It's really, really good. I like it. If you do spend a little bit of money in the game, this is a really good item to get. All the cornucopia weapons, to my knowledge, do the same thing, but the staff is really good for healers because we want that energy to never drain. We don't want them to ever run out of energy. You got to keep the heals up. For a trinket, we got Coexist Armor, just so we can mitigate that damage. I don't want him to take too much, and so that's why I run it. So she does get hit, she kind of can shed it off without a concern. For the Resonance, we got Double Chalice, increases healing by 10% and healing received by 10%. And then, of course, for her Whisper, we got Mercy of the High Priestess. Increases healing effect by 15%. We're fortunate enough to roll that final effect for the double, which increases healing by an additional 15% for a total of 30. And if the target is dying, the healing effect is further increased by another 15, making it 45 all day. Really, really good Terror Whisper on her and on any healer. Like I said, if you don't have an Inanna, there's nothing wrong with it. Use a different healer. I think you need a healer in the group, despite the final candidate in this team. However, you're going to find that when you're pressing that attack and you're really in the enemy's faces, you're taking a lot of damage. You're soaking it up. So having a dedicated healer is a big deal. Inanna's great with that Act Again, and she gives Auguste a lot of potential to just keep hitting and keep trucking. Moving on to the final candidate. Like I said, it might surprise you. They're also capable of healing. Butterfly. I don't know everybody likes Butterfly. I love Butterfly. I think she's really, really cool. I like what she can do tactfully. She's got a lot of mobility in her kit. She's got a lot of buffs in her kit. She's a really, really cool character. So let's talk about it. This trait increases her attack by 8%. At the end of the turn, she grants a level 1 buff to 3 random allies within 2 tiles of the character, lasting for 2 turns. Really, really nice. Just for ending her turn, she buffs. Great. Basic attack, deals 100% physical damage, and additionally recovers 1 energy. That's an invigorating strike. Really, really good. For the reaction, we got defense, back attack. Reaction. When hit by an active attack, the damage taken is decreased by 8%. When hit by a back attack, the damage taken is additionally decreased by 30%. I took that because she's mobile. She will often end up in situations where she takes extra damage and she's vulnerable, so I want to be able to mitigate it as best as possible. And you'll see that in the video, I think. Enchanting Dance is the next ability I got on her. It's an instant. It swaps positions with any character within 3 tiles. The character gains Move 2 and Shift. Oop, I need to click it again. For 1 turn. Move 2 increases the tiles you can move by 2. And then a Shift is a buff that inflicts critical damage when it's a back attack. Awesome. This is a really cool ability. I like her with Cole and other things like that. But any of my hyper aggressive attacking units, they're going to be really good on her. So I messed up on her trinket. You can put anything you want on here, but for her I got Fancy Hat on here. Anything works. I probably would go with the Coexist armor. I didn't really realize I'd swapped it out. Who cares? Regardless, Double Chalice is what I'd put on Resonance for her for the healing effect. And then for the Terror Whisper, I got Course of Fortune, which is random buffs. Really, really nice. I like that AoE heal because I might not always be healing with her. And so she's going to always run out there and do that. Oh. What am I doing? I got ahead of myself. I didn't go over all of her abilities. Sorry about that. Let's finish this out. Dance of Encouragement is the next ability. Support gains Dance of Encouragement. The effect increases damage by 15% for other allies within 5 tiles around the character and grants 30% lifesteal lasting for 3 turns. This ability on Auguste, on Gloria, Guzman, on Edda, awesome. Gives them lifesteal. Extra damage, love it. Sorry I skipped these abilities, but yeah, love that. Really, really good. And then of course for the last one is Blessing. Heals all allies within 2 tiles of the target, recovers 30% of the HP, and converts 2 random debuffs into level 1 buffs, lasting for 2 turns. Awesome. Can't beat it. Really, really good ability. So real quick, I just want to make mention that for our weapon, which I totally skipped, I use Newborn Blade because it gives her a nice little HP buff. I'm so sorry I forgot that. I had a little ADD moment. Anyways, on with the video. So, with that said, she's the final component of the team. So if you're going into a match where you have 6, she's the one that fits the final slot. If you don't fit all 6, she's the one that I would drop. That mobility and versatility really makes her a great candidate. You don't want to bring in the extra damage, in my opinion, if you have a 6 slot. You want somebody that's going to further make Auguste do what he does better. So that he can get out there, hit hard, keep him trucking, keep the damage on him. Because Auguste has got a lot of AoE in his kit. He's got a lot of damage in his kit. So we just want to keep that rolling as best we can. And so that's my team. Call it Total Assault. Without further ado, let's have a look at the combat. Alright, so I love this fight. I think it's really, really good to utilize for any example. Anytime we want to showcase somebody and whatnot, and especially for Auguste because we got so many tanks right here, defenders, if we will. So with that said, we're going to be moving our people up. Gloria's going to buff, get some stuff rolling. Same thing with Butterfly. She opens up that buff. And Auguste steps up so that he can just go ahead and start taking some damage. Just popping that hassle. Right away, Guzman pulls one in, keeps him close, debuffs him. Enemies coming in. I'm not worried about that. Edda drops that crate. And then boom. Pops that ability. That way she's getting those extra assisted attacks off. We're gonna go ahead and pop Act again. I use it on Gloria here because I want her to get that spear down, that launching spear. That way the enemies have a little something else to hit while we're getting set up. And then plus we're getting some AoE damage down and avoiding that dodge. The AoE damage just goes right through dodge. So these Papal Priests are a bit of a nuisance. Their ice magic and their ability to kind of zone us. We'll pop this attack some Guzman. We don't mind. Guzman's pretty healthy and pretty hardy. There's that flag soaking up a little bit of damage for us. We'll drop down our own flag, Convallaria, that way we can get some extra energy out. Gloria pop some AoE damage. Just kind of get some stuff out there. Let's start hitting them. A little bit of heal. He goes down and smacks a bunch of people all at once. Really, really good. There's that assisted attack. Remember, that's doing damage. It's debuffing everything. Just got some energy out on everyone. Buffed them up. Just pops them off. Make sure there's no debuffs. Really probably could have just done an attack. The assisted attack there at that point. But it's okay. Stacking up the rage by soaking up those physical hits. We don't mind. Well, the mage hit was physical, but regardless, we're soaking up that damage. Guzman's taking a lot. They like to hit him. Good bust from Gloria. Nice little heal from Butterfly. And a little bit of AoE damage. Extra heal. Popping that again. Rage Outburst. A little smack. Double smack. Decent damage. So now we move Guzman over so that way he can just kind of shed some of that magical damage and peel in that way. More buffs. Pop them off, get those debuffs off. More buffs. Let them keep going, we don't mind. Larger Spear goes out again. Decent AoE damage. Attacking crates. They also soak damage. Really, really nice. More utility for Edda. Popping that basic attack. Nice assisted attack, sorry. More debuffs on that enemy. She further buffs that lifesteal. Look at that lifesteal. Beautiful. Good damage. He soaks that up. Another assist attack, more debuffs. So Guzman hits, triggers the assist attack, the debuff, ends his turn, debuffs further, vulnerable. Really, really nice. Staying in and around Auguste, helping to peel that magic damage if necessary. Rage Outburst, more damage, slaughtering people. AoE magic damage, we don't mind. At this point, pretty well buffed. We'll strike back. Princess's Guard is gone. We're not fussed, we're not worried about it. Gloria just popping them with a little AoE damage. AoE damage, sorry. Butterfly swapping spots so that we can get some extra mobility on Auguste there. Now August's got some extra move. Grab him, pull him over here. Get over here, boy. Or girl, sorry. That papal unit is a female. Those debuffs, a little bit of heal. Now I could be triggering more assisted attacks, and if that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not really worried about min-max. I'm just kind of having fun wanting to showcase the team. I really like this team that I built around Auguste. It's been a lot of fun to play. More assisted attack debuffs. He's invulnerable, but those debuffs still go. Good AoE damage. Gloria just moves around, kind of does her thing and supports the cast. Butterfly can put some damage out too. Proc those assisted attacks if necessary. Auguste with the smackdown. Well, I act again. Proc that assisted attack. So now at this point in the fight, we're worried about that invulnerability. We got to take care of it. So start repositioning our units here so we can go take care of those invincibility statues. Use this just so we can proc the AoE and take that guy out. Get a rage outburst. Take that guy out. Beautiful. Pull him in. Keep him close. Let him heal. Now they both have invulnerability. It's a bit of a nuisance. We got to really get up there and take care of the statues so we can finish this fight out. He's a little buff. She starts to move up. Butterfly is going to give us the mobility to take care of that real quick. Get a buff up and get ready. He's going to stand near. Just keep debuffing him just by being near them with his presence. Her invulnerability is up. She's doomed. Basic attack, proc that assisted attack. There we go, we're getting up here. Swap. Yep. Start moving back down the rest. Now it's just giving that move buff. Try to pull her away so they're not swapping places anymore and that guard can't protect them. Or suppression can't protect her, sorry. A little more buff. She walks back towards suppression, which is the right thing to do. Get that act again. Can't stop AoEs, so that's what we want. Push him away. And proc the next hit. Rage outburst time. You're gonna hit for the rage. Procking those assisted attacks. Getting the debuffs on him. Gloria's gonna take care of one statue. His invincibility's gone. We're gonna go ahead and take care of the other one. It's not an issue. And then it's time to finish this out. Couple smacks, proc that assisted attack, boom. Edda's turn. A little crate for fun. Finish it. So yeah. That's my team comp for Auguste. That's not union based. I call it Total Assault. Using quite a bit of legendaries. This might be more of a build that's for the whales, or if you're lucky enough to have all these characters. I thought it was really fun. If you have Guzman, maybe, and you want to throw him in there with Auguste, and you have Edda, and you're not sure how she can really support and do well for him, I just want to showcase some of that and give you some things to entertain and enjoy and utilize. Hopefully you like it. Guzman was a surprise for me. That's a unit that really doesn't get much love in this game, and man, I think he does a good job in this team comp. He's a lot of fun to use with Auguste and really helps keep him nasty and mean and aggressive. With all that said, drop down in the comments, let me know what you think, if you disagree, if you agree. Sorry I kind of butchered some of that earlier, got a little tongue-tied. Regardless, hope you enjoy what I've showed you here. Appreciate you, and I hope you have a good time in Sword of Convallaria and everything you do. See you later. Bye.